And that's what we're here today. Is it? Djanna?
No, it's not. So it's actually Jannatu.
Jannatu. Jannatu. I
Yeah.
like that.
Think of Django, D and the J. Django,
Yeah,
Djibouti.
Jannatu.
There's no
Jannatu.
D.
Jannatu.
The D.
Okay.
That's why it's quiet D, because the D is silent.
Jannatu.
Yes.
He is silent. There you go. All right. Jana's resume. All right. We got our African expert here. Right?
We'll say like a halfway, you know, half and half. So
Okay.
halfway expert, yeah.
Right. Yeah, right.
Are you expert?
Expat. It's like moved from. You're saying expert.
It's
Like Pat, Patriots Pat.
okay. John's resume. African expat.
Expat. See?
That's a resume you have though.
That's
real.
And honestly, the expat is like I feel like that's the African accent of experts anyway.
Really?
It's an expat.
Okay, I hear it.
See, so I was reading in my African
reading experience.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
But yes. But I don't want to say X because X makes it feel like
You're not welcome back.
I've been removed. Yeah.
You removed yourself.
I mean,
You
something
left.
I
Well,
did.
She got on the plane. She has autonomy.
Hey,
She got on the plane, right? It's a plane, not a boat.
Yeah, I mean, at the age of 9?
Oh, hell yeah. You was running up. Yeah.
Even not, no, maybe like 7, 8.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like her age, 8.
Once you like hit like 6 months,
It's over with. I make the decisions
you
for
make
myself now.
decisions. You know what I'm saying? How often do you tell her what to do?
And she doesn't.
She wants you to do what she wants to do.
She is going to, absolutely. But I still have to say it first. And I think getting on the plane is pretty significant. Like, what am I going to do? Say, yeah, let my parents go. I mean, I would have totally stayed. I just don't know. Just never thought to, I don't know if I ever really, like, actually told my parents, like, yeah, like, I'm staying here. I just spoke with my parents about this, and they were like, oh, yeah, we were going to do 5 years in Africa, 5 years in the States, 10 years in Africa, 10 years in the States. I said, what happened to the last 10 years in Africa? But that was like, life happens. I was like,
Wow.
he was like, plans changed. My mom was like, you were born. I was like, no, it wasn't me. It was my little sister.
Oh, she's the reason.
Yeah, she's the reason we went back.
In America.
She was conceived in Africa, but yeah, born in Maryland, actually.
Maryland.
Yeah, that's where we moved to first. We moved to New York first.
Hold on.
Get to the question though.
Go ahead, son.
Alright, so where did this start? When you got on the plane, where were you at leaving from?
Cameroon.
Okay.
Yes, which is where my dad is from, originally.
Okay.
Cameroon.
Cameroon.
Africa. Where Joel Embiid is from.
And the boxer who just boxed yesterday.
In Francis Ngannou?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
See? Ngabella. See?
Fufu.
Yeah. He's probably from a Fulani tribe for sure.
Okay, alright. So,
Yes.
this is the people, these are your cousins. Alright.
I mean, there's a lot of them.
Francis Ngannou and Joel Embiid are Jonna's cousins. Alright, so now before you leave from Cameroon, you said you were 7, 8?
2093, 7.
2093?
7. No. 93 more 2007. So
Okay.
2000, yeah. So 7.
Right. So 7 years, you were 7 years old, and you got on the plane and you said, F Cameroon.
Yeah.
I am leaving this place for a better country.
Never.
That's what you said.
No.
You're trying to make sure she never goes back.
Expat.
So, you got on the plane. Before you got on the plane, though, what was your life like in Cameroon?
It was great. Favorite place to live, Africa.
You remember this? Like
Yeah.
vividly.
Yeah, vividly. Well, because when we first moved, so we lived in Guinea-Conakry, which is right next to Senegal. and then we moved to Cameroon, and then we moved to Maryland. And so when I first moved to Maryland, everyone's questioning, people want to know, oh, what's the move, girl? Like, where'd you move from? And you say Africa, and they're like,
Africa.
Yeah, like Africa. So it was like the number one question was always, oh, where do you like it better? And the question still has the same answer. It's always been Africa, like always. Overseas in general, I feel like it's just a different vibe.
We're gonna get to that
for sure.
We're definitely gonna get to
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So you love Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents decide to move you out here.
Mm-hmm.
You moved to Maryland.
Yeah.
You got friends in Cameroon?
Yeah.
What age did you start school in Cameroon?
Preschool. So I went to a French preschool in Guinea-Conakry, and then I went to like a diplomatic school, the American School of Yaoundé. So it was like a boarding school. So yeah.
So it's like, when you say preschool, that's like
4. Yeah, so 4 preschool, then pre-K, kindergarten, and then came here for first grade. Yeah.
First grade, you moved to
Maryland.
United States.
Yes.
Of Maryland.
Why Maryland? Did you ever ask your parents why?
That's where my mom's job. So my mom worked for the Peace Corps. My dad worked for the American Embassy. So DC is right there. Silver Springs was like a good neighborhood. Montgomery County was like right there.
You moved to Silver Springs.
Everything was Springs.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
we're in Sandy Springs now.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes. So we moved to Silver Springs. Yeah. It was right there by DC.
How long were you there?
2 years. So then I moved to New York, 3rd grade.
And then people were still asking you, where are you from?
Mm-hmm.
Did you at that point say Maryland, or you still like, I'm from Cameroon?
No, because at that point I'd still lived in Africa longer than I lived in the States. So for like up until like maybe like once I got into middle school, that's when it was like now I'm like half and half. I've been in the States just as much as I've been in Africa, but I always feel like my core values, 1 through 5 is when you like absorb everything. So I'm always like, that's where like all the core values came into play. So I feel like that's always influenced more than the States. But when I did move to New York, that's when like I started noticing things differently. Like now I'm getting a different perspective because I'm not around, my African family anymore. Now I'm around Americans. And Americans are very different than Africans. So, yeah.
Don't be again.
I'm from America now. It's crazy.
So I'm going to ask a dumb question. Not a dumb question.
No such thing,
as a
man.
dumb question, right? No such thing.
I'm going to ask I did extensive work on that.
Clearly.
All right. So, Cameroon, is that developed? Do you have roads? Do you have dirt roads? Do you have streets?
You should pull up your phone, not your phone, your laptop and go to Google Maps, and I can show you because there's a difference, right? So.
Part 1 of our exclusive interview with.
All right.
There is, so where my dad is from, he's from a really small village where it should not take you like a 2-day journey to get there, but because of there not really being like paved roads, and then like depending on the weather, like cars get stuck in the mud all the time, and then it's a traffic jam because everybody's stuck in the mud, or there's cows crossing, and yeah.
Must take a while.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
Is it longer than?
It's not longer than Houston trains.
I was about to say.
Nope.
Yeah,
As long as
those cargo trains sitting behind any of those cargo trains.
Here in Atlanta, yeah.
They
I've
have
been
them
late
out
for
there?
work. Yeah, sometimes one time it was like crossing, started to slow down, it stopped, it even started to reverse.
Wow.
I've seen that.
I was like, okay, let me just go and find the next place where it's not. Okay, so Cameroon. So Yaoundé is the capital, but Douala is like the industrial capital because that's where like all the fish are and whatnot. In Yaoundé, I would say I don't think you're really gonna see like pavement like outside. Yeah, like gray concrete pavement. To this day, probably not. Maybe like right in the city center. How do I get the like on the ground and in
everything in Google Earth.
Yes.
Okay, I can do that.
That's what I'm Google Earth, or honestly, even if you go on Snapchat, have you ever like gone to Africa and Snapchat and watched people's snaps in Africa?
No, I can't say.
Yeah, that's how much like I love like I just go and be like, okay, I know none of these people, but I'm still seeing it in real time. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I'm still seeing my homeland in some way or another. But yeah, no, not really pavement. I mean, there's a Hilton.
How about Marriott?
And I don't know if Marriott, but Hilton. There are like 3 Hiltons. They've been there for forever. That's like the hotel in Africa. But no real pavement.
This is Cameroon?
Yeah, this is Cameroon. And then if you look at Tibati, which is the village where my dad is from, it's just like dirt road. Not, again, no pavement, no sidewalks.
Lions.
Nothing like that. I've never seen a lion, but it is in the savannah, technically. It's like between the savannah
But we
and
were in Italy, we were
rainforest.
driving on the highway and I saw a lion.
In Italy? So Italy
It might
has
have
one.
been painted or a figure of her imagination. But yeah, I've never been to like any of like the like the little safaris that you can go on, or like seen them in the wild. There we go.
Okay, that's what we want to know. Did they steal your chickens out of your backyard? That's what we want. We want the scoop.
There are all these
Cameroon in Africa.
Lots of
I personally want the animal scoop. Like, what type of animals did you see?
I mean,
I want to know how far are the animals. That's what I want.
Regular, like,
Cattle,
farm animals?
yeah, cattle, goats. Like we had, my dad swears like he was like, I'm not running a zoo, but yeah, he's joking because we had goats, we had a duck that we would babysit at one point for a friend. Yeah, dogs, turtles, rabbits, chickens. We had everything.
That sounds like a zoo.
Yeah, we had it was basically a zoo.
Entertaining.
Basically a zoo. And I loved animals, so anytime I saw an animal like that, can we keep it?
Totally off topic.
Totally off topic, sorry, yes.
Why do you have, no, not what you're saying.
No.
Why do you have this online to the right? It's going I just want to know.
That's how, when I had my researcher
Uh-huh.
write this up, that's just how they send it.
Okay, no, I get that, but why? Why to the right? Because we here at least we read from the left to the right.
Well,
Here at least.
this is African.
Yeah, right. You know, so you can spit it off. So that's take it back. No more questions.
No more questions. All right,
I'm
so
done with
this is where I went to school. I don't think you're gonna be able to see it like from actually maybe you can't from like the person perspective now. Let's see. I'm gonna drop them down like right here.
When you went to school, they said like a lot of schools in Africa, and from what I heard in the past time, there was a lot of like, you were outside a lot. Like,
Yeah, it's like, well, I don't know about outside in nature, like the school. So this is, let me both say actually also for you guys. But the school, it was kind of like an outdoor school, like how California schools are outdoors and you have to go in between classes and whatnot. There's no covered hallway or anything like that. So you have to like walk outside to get to your classes. But there was, I mean, that's probably my favorite school. We had a pool, like you would go swimming for gym. It was, yeah. They had like a lot of different programs. Yeah, they had a lot of different programs. Yeah, probably like my favorite school. Probably like my favorite school.
what language did you learn?
So they teach you French. So this is a school. So it's like all of this. This is like
American School of Yaoundé.
Yeah, but the teachers have their own area, you know, to
That they
live in.
live in?
Yeah, it's just like
Doesn't it?
I mean, it looks paved, but you can go like down the street and you're on a different road and it's not paved. But this is the city center, so
Right here.
it's gonna be as paved as it gets. Yeah, it's not gonna be like that.
Nah.
And there's definitely no lanes. You kind of just know where to
I
drive.
see a big soccer field. Did you play soccer?
I played soccer until I got kicked in the face with the soccer ball in kindergarten. And I started walking off the field and I was like, you're gonna turn around and you're just gonna like continue playing. And I was like, yeah, no. Just walk off.
Hate to see this.
But you played volleyball in high school. You didn't get hit. You got hit with the ball.
I mean, yeah, but I didn't get kicked in the ball like straight in the face with the ball.
Somebody spiked you.
For sure.
I think my reflexes are a little bit slower in kindergarten, so
Okay.
yeah.
So you're saying nobody spiked you is what you're saying. You was that nice because your reflexes.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, a little bit better.
Okay.
Definitely a little bit
All
better.
right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
not only an African.
You got excellent resume, but All-American,
Yes,
all-county,
add it to the resume.
national defending champion,
Oh
all
boy.
4 years of high school.
MVP.
MVP.
Olympian,
Olivia.
John too.
I know.
Do they have a volleyball?
I was thinking that, like, what do you mean, in Africa?
No.
Like adults
Anywhere.
here?
Yeah.
I've honestly been looking for one out here for like an adult league. They have like pickleball and stuff, you know, but like volleyball is a little bit harder. Or it's like sand volleyball, or like outdoor volleyball. I'm not a big fan. I've recently converted. I like beach and sand a little bit better now. But before, I mean, it's like you go to serve a ball and the wind just like blows the ball right back into your face.
Yes.
So when you play indoor the whole time, you have no elements.
What's the place? John Jay. John Jay, tennis park. Yeah.
Oh, they have an outdoor
No, we're
beach.
talking about hoops. Just the same type
Oh.
of reason.
Oh,
as volleyball.
yeah,
Right?
like, yeah, you think you're about to shoot and the wind's like, yeah, no.
I mean, if you ask this guy, I didn't expect him, but it definitely affected
You
him.
know, it's different. When you have a connection with the ground like I do, it always finds a way.
You know,
Into the booth. Gotcha.
crooks are random, but nonetheless, we're there.
No, I know John Jay.
I'm just saying, John Jay's
I'll get the
awesome.
Mexicans.
Very,
Oh.
very.
How about you? Huh?
Yeah.
All right. You said convert money to talking about something else, but what money did you guys have in
Francs.
France?
Mm.
Francs.
French currency.
French currency. Yeah.
Do you know what the name of that is?
Francs.
She just.
Francs.
F-R-A-N-C-S.
I'm like, she just
Well,
said,
yeah.
and then you
Francs.
said it back.
Yeah.
I said French.
Oh, Francs.
French Montana.
Frank.
France.
Frank.
Frank.
Like
Frank.
Frank.
Like a hot dog,
Like Frank.
Frank.
No, she's saying something different.
No, yeah, like a Frank.
She's saying Frank.
Well,
Well, she's saying American.
Frank.
saying it like
Frank.
I'm American.
Frank. Today
Like,
we are African.
Frank. Yeah.
I would love to claim my tribe.
Yeah,
Francophone.
I am an African in America. I'm not African American.
Are you though?
Thank
See,
you.
this
Yeah,
is my thing, right?
yeah.
When I moved to New York, see, when I was in Maryland, I only had, like, all my black friends were African. Which is, thinking about it, like, yeah, there were some people in my class who I'm sure probably weren't. Like, I know there definitely weren't. But, like, my friends all were African.
Are we talking Maryland or New York?
Maryland.
Okay.
All African. So some were from Senegal, some were Cameroonian, some to this day I know that are Cameroonian. Yeah, but never like had anybody, and I don't even know how it happened that way, but never had Ethiopians, never had a Black American of any other like
In Silver Springs, Maryland?
in Silver Springs, Maryland, as a friend, like to
Yeah.
come over my house as a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Everyone was African. I mean, I had like white friends and I had like Thai friends and Hispanic friends and all that, but I never,
Just no niggas.
never. Everyone in my community was African.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's Silver
Sounds
Springs,
pretty
Maryland.
Yeah.
Very.
But I mean, Maryland is like has a pretty big African population as well.
Does it?
Yeah.
Or at least in Silver Springs, for sure.
How far is Silver Springs from like
Good. Baltimore.
It's probably like an hour, 2 hours.
Baltimore? Are you familiar with Randallstown?
Mhm.
Are you familiar? Well, how far is it from DC?
Like an hour and a half, maybe.
Okay. I know DC.
Yeah.
Not yes. No, he's in Virginia. Anyways,
No.
all right. So France.
Yeah.
I feel like I say it right, and then she's like, no.
I definitely thought you were saying it right.
You did, but then you were like, France. Yeah, there you go.
That was good. France.
Yeah.
France.
See, I can't say, can't tell if you're saying France, like France, but France.
I'm saying.
It's like a K. It's a C at the end.
With a C at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
France.
Yeah. Okay.
You said it
You
right.
are saying it right. It's just when I hear the S, it like blends.
Okay.
You gotta be like real
Like,
distinct.
oh, that's why you say, okay, so
Yeah.
you're like, because the way you say it was like France.
Yeah, because it's the C that you want to emphasize on. Because if you put the C in the S, then it's gonna sound like France.
France.
Yeah, France.
Oh, like from. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's why I was like,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that'll change up the word for sure, especially if you're speaking like in certain tribal. Yeah.
Tribal. So, in Cameroon,
Mm-hmm.
you have a city capital and you have rules that are, I guess, overseen by France. How does that work?
Well, no, not anymore because they got their independence in the 60s, I want to say.
Okay.
But they were colonized for a long time. So during the colonization, obviously, like all these rules and stuff, it's just how they governed.
And then,
Mm-hmm.
so with that, you, what was I going with this? With that, with having it overrun by France,
Mm-hmm.
you still had villages and tribes.
Yes, lots of them.
So how does that work? Are these like almost like having like America runs New York, and then New York you
America
have-
runs New York?
Uh,
New York runs America?
New York.
You mean like-
New York for
New
sure.
York definitely runs America in that context.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying like as an example, like
Mm-hmm.
so you got America, which would be France, and then you got New York, which would be Cameroon.
Okay.
And in that you have Amityville, you have Manhattan, you have is this the same way tribes work?
Not really, because the tribes you're gonna go to, like, it's like people who live in rural country, right? Like, they're not really gonna be following the same rules that people in Manhattan are. They're gonna, like us, they're completely unbothered by like everything else going on because they're in such a secluded area that they can kind of govern themselves without, because no one's like going to each tribal village and, implementing and forcing them to
They
do
just
stuff.
want the parts that they want.
Right. Now, when they were colonized, yes, because, so like in Africa, there's kings and there's like, let me specify with my dad's village. My dad's village, there are two separate sides, or there's like, there's like two separate sides. So there's the kings, which are the lamidos, and then there are the imams.
Imams.
Yes.
I've heard that term before. Okay.
Yeah, so they're like the pastor, the preach. They're like the head of the Muslim church.
I was about to say, Imam is a Muslim term, right?
Mm.
Yes, that they're the head of the mosque.
Okay, yes.
So it's divided into two sides in my dad's village. So when they were colonized, I want to say it was with the Germans the first time. The Germans came and they were like, hey, look, listen, you need to fight this war for us. We need you to do X, Y, and Z. And the Lamido was like, no. So they took him back to be executed in Yaoundé as like an example. Like that's funny. All of you you need to follow suit or else this is what's gonna happen. You don't care if you're, a tribe and they're all the way out here, you're all gonna be fighting this war with us. So back then when they were colonized, yes, they would go to the villages because they want to rule everything. Yeah, they want total control. Now it's back to the reference where if you're in rural New York and you're on a farm and there's no neighbors for miles and miles and miles.
Cops don't really
you're not, unless there's something crazy going on and they need to call out someone there, they're not really gonna bother you. You can kind of like rule in your own way. Just same things with like really small towns, not even like Amityville or Copiague, but like in Connecticut, or like Westchester, like my aunt lives in Pound Ridge, and I mean, it takes her like 30 minutes to get to like the next town, and they have like their little main street with the one grocery store, the one bank, the one gas station. When it's small like that, it's like you can kind of govern yourself a little bit without influence from the major cities. But Yaoundé has had the same president, and if I'm not mistaken, he is still president, and he's been president since I lived there. Paul Biya. But it's like I
You say how uncomfortable she
on the record and say anything. But I'm pretty sure he's still alive. I don't think that like in Africa it's a little bit different because it's not a democracy really. It's a republic and it's corrupt.
You asked her if she liked him and perceived the South. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. She said something without saying it.
No, I get that. I heard that very clearly.
Yeah, he's been He's been around this whole time. Okay. He's been like the longest president in Cameroon. So.
Every time somebody that I know who is of decent African descent, they talk about the corruption a lot.
Oh yeah, because it's really corrupt. I mean, it's a great place to live because, again, like New York, you're in a rat race, like I said. There it's kind of like, you kind of live how you want. Same thing with Europe, you kind of like you can get away from the madness of it all. Just because it's kind of like simplistic living. Mm-hmm. Technology hasn't like taken over. Mm-hmm. There's not like a million skyscrapers they're trying to develop, but Africa is kind of, it's oppressed because it's been under colonization for forever. And only recently, like Cameroon was just independent in the 60s. So my dad was still there when my dad wasn't even born yet. So.
And there was a fight for that independence.
Mm-hmm.
War.
Yeah. And then, they went through World War I and World War II. It's still, now you're a whole country that is divided because you have Portuguese colonizing some countries, you have the English colonizing other countries, the Germans colonizing other, so no one is like completely, is it cohesive? We're not all as one, and they've been trying to found kind of like the EU had with Africa, the African nations all together as one, but you have a whole lot of different,
Yeah, you might not want to say that out loud.
Yeah, you have a lot of different things going on in Africa all at the same time. You have Muslims, you have Catholics, you have Christians, you have the Dutch in South America, you have apartheid, you have, there's like a million and one things going on in Africa. So it's just constant, like modern day oppression still because it's not like
it's hard to rise up against it if everybody's split.
Yeah, and especially because everybody's split, but then you have the people who are at the top and supposed to be leading are the ones who are like, well, if I stay in power and you just give me the money, like I can do what I want with it. I don't need to. So you kind of have to like play the game now. Like my dad is, he has land, he's bought land, and he has to play the game where it's like, okay, I got to talk to the Minister of Agriculture in order to get this land, and luckily he's connected in Cameroon to do that. But if you're not connected, you kind of you gotta bribe them. Yeah, you gotta play the game basically.
Yeah.
You gotta play the game.
Yeah, which makes sense. If you're not. There are rules here, and there are rules here for a reason, and we don't like how oppressive those rules are a lot of times, but it would get very corrupt if those things are in place. And there's still
corruption.
But, you know, it's like humans that in our essence are really corrupt. Everybody wants what they want at the end of the day.
Yeah, you haven't had any, well, I mean, I guess can you say you had civil war? There hasn't really been civil war in a while here, but like, look at the Rwandan genocide. Those are African tribes, and you're pitted against each other, and you're all from the same place, really. So, yes, you're gonna have to wait.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
So, you're here, 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, you moved to New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 2003.
You are in
Long Island. Yes, I'm in Susan E. Wiley. I'm in Susan E. Wiley.
classic.
Shout out to Wiley's your walls.
It's like, you know,
I love
great man can
Susan E.
choose
Wiley.
like, yeah.
Well, we were
It's
like technologically advanced. Google's like all on the other side. But
different. You know,
Average.
we put ourselves in a different bracket.
The real average. And, I mean,
I told you you tell what to do.
oh my goodness.
So
yeah, Susan E. Wiley.
Susan E. Wiley, and you are in
Third grade.
third grade. All right. And you met this guy.
Did we meet in third grade? Were you in Miss Pennsylvania's class?
no, I was in Miss Cameroon.
I don't think we were in any classes together.
Nope. I didn't remember seeing John until about 5th grade.
Yeah.
It was like
Me
5th
neither.
grade. Because our classrooms were across from each other. I had Goldberg, you had Mr.
And my favorite. Loved him.
Did you meet Eustace?
Eustace, I think he was in my 3rd or 4th grade class. He was definitely in one of my classes, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Eustace only there.
You hear all these greats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard nothing about you.
Oh, yeah, see? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I met Eustace. I met Djanna.
Yeah.
Stephanie. I met a good amount of people. Stephanie.
And you, we were all there, man.
Yeah, Mohammed.
That's great. When did you met MU in 3rd grade?
Maybe 4th grade.
I'm asking because when I tell people that I'm interviewing John, I'm interviewing her live, when she wore the big stink, this African girl, and gay and
dresses.
long dress. That's why I used to say, she had long dress, so on, it was like different.
Well, so see, this is where, again, the perspective changes, because I'm with all these Africans, and like, nobody cared about, I don't think, nobody really cared about, like, how I dressed or anything like if they did, like, I wasn't as, maybe not, I wasn't as sensitive as what I was going to say.
Oh.
So if you did say something, it's kind of like, okay, like, let's race, let me beat you up. Or not let me beat you up, but you know what I mean? Like, So, coming to New York, coming to New York, it was different because now I have, like, my black card getting revoked because it's like, oh, you don't know Friday, you don't know the basics. I know the basics. I know the basics of anything.
Of culture.
Like nothing. None of the songs, nothing. Yeah, basically. Nothing of like, and so Black America is different than like Black Africa. Like two different cultures completely. And so now I'm around like, I didn't even know because like, again, I was friends with people, but I didn't realize like where their parents were from until like middle school is really when I started hanging out with like going to Bria's house, going to Damia's house. I didn't really go to their houses. Susan E. Wiley. I didn't go to their houses in elementary school. It wasn't until middle school that I had. And now I'm like, oh, like you have Bayesian parents, you have Jamaican parents, you have Trinidadian parents. You're not anywhere. You're not from Africa. Like you're not from Africa. You have nothing. Yeah. Not until Toby, Femi.
Wow.
Yeah. There you go. They were like
my Nigerian brothers.
Yeah. They're like the only Africans.
Nigerian? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So No niggers until you came to.
No. And I used to just wear whatever. Like my mom would let me.
Style
Yeah. Oh yeah. My mom. In Africa, I would always get my hair braided. Like I have aunts, I have uncles. They take me to the salon. I get my hair braided all the time. Nobody touched my hair in New York. Nobody. Like even my grandmother came to visit when we were in Maryland. My grandfather came to visit when we were in Maryland. My uncle lived with us when we were in Maryland. But in New York, there was nobody. And my mom actually didn't move to New York with us when we moved. My mom moved maybe like a year or two later because she had to finish on her contract in DC. So yeah, my dad wasn't doing my hair. Nobody was taking me to get my hair braided. And I just kept wearing a bandana. Like all of third grade year, I just kept putting a bandana on my head going to school like that. To the point where I think my mom did finally come back. She was like, we can't brush your hair. Because it was matted up. And so we just cut it off. If you know me in third, fourth, fifth grade, my hair was like I had like no hair, like, yeah.
No hair.
No hair, like maybe like one curl.
I remember that.
There was no ponytail, there was no nothing.
So not enough hair to have a ponytail.
Not even like little poops, nothing. Cut it all off. Yeah. Yeah, and I met a couple people, so then I was in cheerleading, so like Quanasia from Ambyville. No, she's married to Denzel now. She just got married to
Denzel from Kobe?
Yeah, she just got married to him. Wow. So Leanne Ben, she went to, it was like Tiara. There's like a couple of girls from Ambyville that I cheerleaded with. And yeah, there was no one here. Shanice Gaskin. She's married to Taylor, Chris Nelson's sister.
Okay. Yes.
She's married to her. Yeah, she's married to her, yeah. No, they all knew me cheerleading, no hair, none. Yeah, you probably have more hair than I had then, right now. Yeah, it was really short. Cut it all off though. But I wasn't big on like my hair or again clothes or anything like that. I was like,
just
trying to
have fun.
Yeah, I'm a child. I'm in third, fourth, fifth grade.
I'm going to get attitude.
I'm just kidding.
Do you feel like when you moved here, people were more kind of materialistic?
Yes, for sure. That's where like the perspective kind of changed because way more materialistic, absolutely. In Africa, you have kids running around. I used to go around barefoot all the time, and people be like, "Why are you going around barefoot?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Like I'm outside in the backyard. Like, I'm going to the mailbox. I'm walking down the block. Why do I need to put shoes on? For what reason?" But now full circle, right? I feel like people are now or at least people our age are now, they're like now people are like going outside and growling themselves. When I was doing that, y'all would make fun of me. Why are you taking off your shoes?
When you took off your shoes when you were a kid, why didn't you let me? Because I always try to.
Okay. You're right. All right, I'm doing it. I will start. Okay, I will start. I gotta go back to perspective, right? For when I was that age. But yeah, people were way more judgmental. Like my older sister struggled with it more than again I did because I kind of was like
older sister.
I don't care. Yeah, so I have an older sister. She's 2 years older than me, and then my younger sister was born in 2000. She just moved over. Yeah, she went to Kobe. She played tennis.
Really?
Yeah, she's like the exact opposite of me. Yeah, she's the exact opposite of me. But people would make fun of her, and we had class together. We had like a buddy program in elementary school in Maryland. And so my first grade class was paired with her, I think, fourth grade class. And she was getting bullied by this one girl. This girl was on the bus with us. She would like take out scissors and like act like she was cutting my sister's leg. And I was like, I was like, I'm not doing this. So I would like go to the teacher and be like, you can move this girl, she's over here taking out scissors, trying to cut my sister. Or like if she's bullying her, or if she's like bullying her on the bus, I'd like have my sister move and stuff like that. But my sister like felt kind of, I was more protective. My older sister has always been more, like she's the big reader of the family. Like she's the worm of the family, the bookworm of the family. So yeah, a little bit more protective. I've always been a little bit more tomboy. Like she wasn't as much of a tomboy. I was more of the tomboy. Even like with guys, like more protective with her. Like, who are you? I'm not the nicest when I meet your boyfriends. So yeah, so I didn't really care if people said like, oh, you cut off all your hair, you have no hair. Oh, okay, it's hair. It was my hair, didn't know it was your hair. So like, that's kind of like how I was with things. I kind of just like brushed things off, didn't care too much. Really wanted to keep with like as much as my traditional like African like culture as possible. Like on graduation, I wore like a full on like African like ensemble.
Yeah.
5th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, 5th grade. Not middle school, not high school, but 5th grade. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep with this. This is what I want to wear. So yeah, I mean, you know, people have different perspectives, or you know, they call, you know, the African booty scratcher. I'd be like, really? Like, what does that even mean, African booty scratcher? But now everybody's like, where are my roots? Like, Ancestry.com, I want to know where I'm from, and you know, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm like, I'm glad people can.
I was about to say, let us
grow.
know.
No, yes, absolutely. But I always wondered, like, who is telling you guys? Like, where are you getting this from? Because it's not even like technology was that big. Like, it was a thing, but like, sheesh.
Yeah, we had
Mean kids. Your kids.
Come on, I'm sure you understand now.
I mean, well, yeah, things you don't know, things you don't understand. You don't have like.
Not just that, but also like we get taught that Africa is this like sub-level place. It's like, so we try to distance ourselves from it as much as possible, especially when you're young and impressionable. Like,
yeah.
like I remember people were like, "Oh, yo, are you African?" Like, hell no! Like, get the hell out of here! I ain't no damn African.
It becomes socially acceptable.
Exactly. And
yeah,
so
misconceptions for sure.
Yeah, so if you're not taught that,
right, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
You know what you know.
Well, that's why I don't hold grudges. Things like that. You know, it was like, for me, again, it's like in one ear, out the other. Now, I'm not going to say I wasn't offended by it, you know, because I'm like, my dad is not like that, you know, like, but then like people would be my dad and they'd immediately be like, oh my God, he's so scary. And then my dad's like the nicest person ever. He's like so chill. He's just like, let it be. He's like, you know, if you can't control it, don't even worry.
My man.
Yeah, he's like, why are you giving it any thought? I'm like, okay, you're right. He's like the most chill person, best advice, all of that stuff. Always shocks me. Like when I tell him something and I'm expecting like, oh my God. And then he tells me like something the exact opposite that I was thinking of. I'm like, oh. I'm like, thanks. Yeah, my mom too. My mom is really good at, my mom and my dad are complete opposites. So my mom is like very much the raging Italian, right? Like just
Italian.
Yeah, Italian. Both parents are Italian. Well, on her, my grandparents, like my mom, both her parents are Italian.
So she's full Italian.
Full Italian. Like my grandfather never became a U.S. citizen.
But she learns French.
Yes, because my mom basically was like, so my Italian family, a lot of them married within the family. Like second cousins got married to each other, third cousins got married to each other. So my mom was like, she's like, I want to be the furthest, like, she's like, I want to date someone who's like completely out of my realm.
House?
Yeah. Nowhere near it.
Your
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was like, I'm gonna marry an African.
Different person.
Completely different race, culture, like everything. But my mom is nothing like her siblings. Like, yeah, nothing like
So this is a real, we make fun of this, but this is a real thing.
I know, it's a real thing. Yeah. Like my cousins live a block away from me, and they're married to each other. They're like, all of them are cousins. Like, my mom's cousins are my third cousins, and then their children are my second cousins. No, my mom's cousins are my second cousins, but their children are my third cousins. So, and then my mom, so my grandmother, on my maternal grandmother, her brother married his cousin, and that's why my mom's cousins are my cousins.
So
They're like cousins and aunts.
quick question.
Yeah.
Are any of these children
Deformed?
Yes.
Slow? No. Surprisingly, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, they're all
Normal, functioning
normal,
adults.
functioning,
And children.
regular adults. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And children, yeah. And their children, right. But so my mom was like, I just want the complete opposite of that. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how did they meet?
My mom was in the Peace Corps. So,
The Peace Corps.
the Peace Corps is like a volunteer organization. They go to like underdeveloped countries and help, I want to say it's like promote like education and
Convert them to
not convert.
Christian.
No. Not even. So my mom and dad worked in the same. My mom worked in my dad's village that he grew up in, and so they worked in the same building together. And he like guided her, taught her the language, and they met in '85. Did he say no? They got married in '85.
Okay.
Something like that. They met in '85 or they got married in '85. It was one of the two things. But yeah, and there was no, so like in Africa, I've never thought about like my mom's race until New York. Because no one really mentioned it. Like maybe in Maryland, like people were like, like what is this white person doing with this African? But yeah, not really. I didn't really think about it until like New York, where people would ask me, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, mom's white. Like, you know, she's my mom.
That's my mom.
Yeah, like.
But then you say that that's my dad too.
Yes,
That's my dad.
That's my father.
That's my dad. Yeah, you know, your parents are your parents. I'm not thinking about race.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up. That's what I'm used to. So, however.
New
New
York.
York is.
Oh yeah, New York is.
We gotta know. We gotta know.
Yeah, we gotta
Oh yeah,
know.
people want to know everything. They want to like get down to the nitty gritty and all of it.
And we're not afraid to ask it either.
No, not at all. Speak your mind by all means. There is no such speak your mind. There is no such thing as like. I mean, yeah, people are polite to a degree, but I feel like being raised in like an African household is, and even an Italian household is.
You just don't have circles.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm not asking too personal of a question. I like asking questions, but just how I'm raised, you know, I'm like, yeah. I mean, if you want to freely discuss with me, but I'm not gonna just like pry. Yeah.
Pride. Oh, that was.
Pride.
Put that term on it.
Yeah. That's really good. Pride. That's normally what it is. What it feels like. Yeah, pride. You know, like,
Damn it, man.
you want to pry something open, you know, you're just asking questions, trying to get to like the root of it.
Yeah, but that's all.
No, yeah, that's all. Like, I mean, it's still prying.
Still.
Sounds
It's not, it is.
Crying is harsh.
It's a little harsh.
So why do you really feel like
Yeah, it's a little harsh. It's a little harsh. I don't mind answering questions because, I mean,
Yeah, you're somebody,
you know.
I feel like,
pretty vulnerable?
yeah, I could pry.
Okay, maybe I want to call it vulnerable.
I mean, vulnerable, maybe
I wouldn't say vulnerable.
just not it. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not.
But you just said you
I would
like
say
to
that
answer
Yeah,
questions.
I do.
Why else would you not answer questions if it's not that you don't want to do that?
I don't think she looks at the questions being asked being vulnerable most of the time. Like as it's something that would make her have to really open herself up to. Like the question.
I mean, kind of. I guess it's like.
Listen, you see how
it's like
hard it is for people to say that they are indeed vulnerable?
It is.
Black women.
I would say more so vulnerable in being sensitive. Like, if you ask me a question, right, I want to answer it because I would much rather you get an answer from me than you ask somebody else and get an answer that isn't what I would normally say.
Okay.
But vulnerable, more so maybe in my relationships. Okay, I need to work on the vulnerable relationships. Yeah.
Just moving.
Yeah.